How's it going today, guys? In this video, I'm going to go over a trailer restoration project that I did a couple years back. This isn't necessarily a how-to video, but it's more of a project overview to maybe give you some ideas or some cost estimates or maybe some tips and tricks if you're planning on doing something similar to this. Now, the old rust bucket you see here in this picture has a lot of surface rust. It has rot. It needs metal work, paint work, new lights, wiring and electrical need to be reran. It has body damage. These are all things to be checked off the list with this project, so stay tuned for the entire video so you don't miss anything. So just a quick background on this project. This is my dad's trailer. It's a 10-foot by 5-foot trailer. He's had it for about 25 years and he uses it for literally everything. And so it's had its fair share of use and abuse over the years, obviously, and I noticed that it was getting to be in pretty bad shape, so I wanted to restore it for him for Father's Day. I'd give this project probably a 6 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. It's higher than a lot of jobs because it requires some welding, and it was pretty in-depth and extremely time-consuming. I mean, the only things that didn't need work were the wheel bearings, leaf springs, and the axle, thankfully. And I say thankfully because although these are all easy fixes, they would have been really expensive. And I had done a really good job at keeping the cost low so far. At the end of the day, this entire project only costed me about $230. A lot of the rust on this trailer is surface rust that will eventually get worse over time, but right now doesn't affect the structural integrity of the trailer. Along the driver's side of the trailer, though, is where rot had actually eaten through some of the pillars. And it was a lot worse on that side because that's the side that traffic would pass by going down the highway, just kicking up a lot of salt and road grime and stuff. The passenger side, though, was still strong and didn't need any rot cut out, though. I made a parts list of everything I'd need for this project, went and basically checked everything out and then bought everything listed below. Rust reforming primer, POR 15, implement paint, angle iron, 2-inch square steel stock, 3 feet of safety chain for the new hitch, new grade A tie-down eyelets, cotter pins, braided, grounding strap, new wiring and harnesses, as well as new LED taillights. The first order of business with this project was to restore the old rusty wheels. This was a project in and of itself to sand, wire brush, and grind away every single bit of rust on these wheels. Once that was complete, the wheels were then primed and then painted with gloss black implement paint. And how I went with painting these was, maybe you guys have seen this trick before, but you use index cards and you place those in between the rim of the wheel, the bead, and the actual tire, and so that way you can paint your wheels without actually removing the tire from the bead, and it saves a lot of time. But even with doing that, just these 2 wheels alone took around 10 hours of work to complete. After that, thin angle iron was welded into the corners of these fenders to increase strength. It was difficult to get the metal clean enough to weld to, but after some determination it was done. One of the fenders was beat up pretty bad also from when a deer had actually ran into the side of the trailer one night while driving down the highway coming back from the fish house. And no matter how much heat I added to the metal, how much pounding I did to it, how much wrenching and pulling and trying to use ratchet straps to force the metal to move, it just would not reform whatsoever. So I left it as it was, and later down the road I do plan on just cutting this fender off and replacing it with an entirely new fender to match the other side. After that, I moved on to cutting out the rod from the driver's side of the trailer. These side pillars were falling apart rather easily, but I was happy that solid metal was close by and that I didn't have to remove the entire pillar. New 2-inch square steel stock was welded into place for the bad pillars, and then the area was covered in a rust preventative primer. The rest of the trailer was then sanded to clean off any amounts of debris, heavy scaling, rust, and then the entire thing was coated in a rust preventative primer before being painted with this blue implement paint. I did have to fix a lot of the spot welds also where the expanded metal had broken loose from the frame, but those were just pretty quick tacks and easy to fix. As for the paint job, the paint ended up being a little bit brighter than I had hoped, but it turned out looking really nice in the end. I went with implement paint because it holds up so well to abuse compared to most other paints. Here's a photo of it almost finished up. To reduce waste from spraying the paint, I used a roller to paint the deck of this trailer. It worked out really well to get every inch of the expanded metal deck covered, and also was nice for adding a second really heavy coat. The insides of the fenders were painted with a black POR 15 because that holds up even better than implement paint to the rock chips and everything that's going to be happening inside the fender wells. As you saw earlier, all the lights on this thing were pretty much shot, and so was all the wiring. I took measurements so that I could buy a trailer rewiring kit when I first started the project, and got some really nice new LED taillights too. This kit only costs around 25 to 30 bucks. I'll link that down below if anyone's interested in rewiring their trailer or upgrading the LED lights, but I highly recommend it because the kit's easy to install and it looks great. Once paint was completely done, I started to run wiring and install the LED taillights. Wiring of the trailer was very easy, however I kept running into issues with grounding. So here's a little bit of advice for all of you who have a tilt deck trailer like this one. It will be almost impossible to keep a solid ground from your lights and electrical with this trailer setup. What I did to ensure I always have a good ground and don't lose connection or have flickering taillights going down the road is drill a hole in the tongue of the trailer and drill another hole in the body of the trailer. Connect these two parts of the trailer together with a braided grounding strap and you'll be good to go. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of this, and I don't know why I don't, but ensure that your braided grounding wire is close to the back of the tongue so that it doesn't limit the amount of tilt your trailer has. This is the only way to ensure you'll have working taillights 100% of the time without flickering or losing ground, because the actual rewiring kit does not have anything like that. After getting lights installed, paint completed, and wiring finished, the trailer was done. My dad was really happy and loved his Father's Day gift, even if it was a little bit late. The entire project costed me about 230 bucks total, so it was a really cheap and fun project, and it took me about 60 hours to complete. Like I said before, difficulty was around a 6 out of 10. That's mainly because of the welding and because it takes a really long time, but it was enjoyable and very cheap, considering the outcome is a completely restored and fully functional trailer. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please let me know with one of those thumbs up things. Also, consider subscribing to Midwest Garage if you haven't already. I have a lot of great content that I think you'd really enjoy, especially if you like this video. Thank you again for watching this video till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.